Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about some of the values to strength training that carry over into other aspects of your life. And I want to talk with you guys a little bit about a concept that I heard from some guys called Barbell Logic a number of years ago, which they talked about voluntary hardship. Now, I don't necessarily agree with all their philosophies, but I do like what they had to say. But let's come back over to the point that coaches out there oftentimes say, and that's that we know that strong people are, number one, harder to kill. They are harder to kill, something a lot of police departments and militaries are starting to figure out and recognize and know. Strong people are harder to kill. Doesn't matter whether you're being attacked by someone or you're hit by a car or you fall down a flight of stairs. Stronger people have a higher survival rate of all these things. We also know that most causes of death as we get older, sarcopenia and loss of muscle and loss of strength, are actually some of the biggest complications that kill you in old age. In other words, people who are very physically strong into their old age and continue to keep that up tend to stave off a lot of these other issues that they have. So it's a generally true statement. Also, strong people are generally more useful. Right? You're more useful to everyone around you. Because being strong means your ability to produce force against an external object. People are more likely to want you around to help them do something, move something, pick something up. People generally know that people who are stronger, unless you get caught up in the bizarre philosophies of certain martial artists, they generally know that stronger people can handle themselves better. Of course, the same clowns who disagree with that won't admit that weight classes exist in fighting sports for a reason. You know, they won't put Silva against John Jones. I wonder why. Because it's very obvious who would win. Right? And even Bruce Lee said that when skill is equal, the stronger person will win 9 out of 10 times. Okay? Stronger people are better just protecting you. In other words, other people generally recognize that having strong people around is of value to you. And that includes even women, guys. Hate to break it to you, but that is the reality. Even women recognize that. And strong people are generally more useful and more valuable members of society. You're just more useful. Makes you a more valued person. And that's a fact. But let's come over to the self-improvement aspects. What is strength training? Strength training is, over time, training yourself sequentially to get stronger and stronger and stronger. It is subjecting yourself to hardship with quantifiable results. Okay, there's the big issue you have with the aesthetics chasing. If you guys notice that most guys who chase aesthetics, even if they've been doing it for years and they're reasonably successful, and I'm stating this as an observation from a couple of decades in the iron game, oftentimes those guys are more insecure afterwards than before they started. Most guys who chase aesthetics, unless they were very, very confident before they started, end up being less confident afterwards. For those of you guys who do it trying to get girls, in other words, let me translate, you're going to get less pussy. Because if there's one thing that women do not like, is men who are insecure. Men who are insecure is a complete turnoff to women as a general rule. You're not attractive. It doesn't matter how beautiful or pretty you are. You are unattractive if you're insecure. So in other words, the guys who obsess over that stuff, they tend to be insecure if anything's not perfect. Okay? It's a real bad idea to pursue that route if you're not already really confident and really secure. If you're trying to do stuff like that with it, it's going to hurt you. And it's because it also is very, very, we won't argue about the mindset. I'm not going to argue about the male versus feminine mindsets. It's not even relevant here. Not relevant to this conversation. We can ignore it. It's subjective. It's not quantifiable. Because a lot of guys who talk about the aesthetic thing, they might think that this person over here looks aesthetic. You know, there's always other men, by the way. This guy's really aesthetic, and he might look hideous to other people. I can tell you right now, if you're 7% body fat, you look hideous to most people. You guys just think I look hideous. Trust me, that looks hideous to people. Even more so than me, to the average person. It's a very subjective thing. It's extremely subjective. It's not quantifiable. So you're putting in tons and tons of work for a subjective outcome. Remember, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. That includes to you who's doing it. And strength training is not. It's objective. Either you can deadlift 450 pounds or you can't. Either you can deadlift 500 pounds or you can't. You can deadlift 505 or you can't. You can squat, overhead press, bench. Do a weighted chin up. All right, notice that there's some others. We can talk about other lifts. It'd have to be just a classic 3. You can either lift X amount of weight on a movement or you can't. It is very, very objective. So when we put in hard work consistently towards an objective outcome, we can track our outcomes over time. We can look at it and say, you know, I have made measurable progress in this 6-month period of time. I've added this much amount of strength on this, and this movement. I can lift this much more weight. It's tangible. It's measurable. Okay. What does it teach us? It teaches us the value of consistent, hard work. All right, that carries over into other endeavors in our lives. And you know, I get that occasionally. I say stuff like that, and I'll get trolls and other people who come through, and they'll be like, well, what about you? You don't work hard, guys. I technically run 2 businesses, and I'm not going to be a dick or brag, but I guarantee you statistically I make more money than you do. That's not counting the exception. Just like when I say I squat more than most of you, there'll be a few guys who not me. That's right. There's a handful of guys who otherwise. But I promise you, anyone who's got time to watch YouTube all day, unless you're doing very, very, very well, I technically run 2 businesses. I probably make more than you. I pay more taxes than you do. For those who jump up and say that nonsense, well, my tax don't. I always get people accuse me of being on welfare, which is actually not true. I pay a hell of a lot of taxes. But yes, my strength training has carried over into my work ethic. Between my home businesses, I work a 60 to 70 hour week sometimes. Okay, and I enjoy it. I love it because it's things I'm passionate about. But let's come over and talk about that. Hard work, putting in hard work for the purpose of self-improvement. Okay, that can make you better at your career. It will boost your self-esteem, because let's talk about how the brain works and how we program ourselves and how we perceive things. Actions speak louder than words to our own brain subconsciously. If you go through the process of putting in really hard work into yourself for a measurable outcome, and the weight on the bar is a measurable outcome, and you do it for months after month, then we start getting into years, what happens? You have programmed your brain to say, well, if I'm willing to put in all this work to make myself better at something, I must be worthwhile. I must be worth the work that's being put in. And you know what? I am a better person for the work. It starts to make you have a more positive view of yourself. Okay. How does that translate to other people around you? Well, not only are you more useful because you're strong, you're more confident. You value hard work. Okay. This makes you, as a person who has a lot of self-confidence, a lot of self-work, who knows the value of hard work and appreciates it and is strong, that makes you more valuable to everybody, your community, your family, your friends, your business. Doesn't matter whether you're a manager, you're someone who works for someone else, whether you own your own business, it makes you more useful to your business. It makes you more useful all the way around. In other words, it makes you a better person. Alright guys, well that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.